Hi, Ron G, aka Your Console, the Net Worth Nation. Today, coming to you with something of great interest. I know you'll like it. I know it'll be informative. I am super excited about this one because probably a little 6 months overdue, but I promised I wouldn't let you down. What can our educators do? And when I'm talking to educators, I'm talking to you. That's right, all of my friends out in the Palm Beach County School District, and to be honest with you, with the school districts around the country. So I'm not just limiting this to Palm Beach County. What can you do as an educator to get in on a piece of the action? Stay with me. Let's get into it. Here we go. All right, so today, primarily, the goal is just first things first, understanding the difference between a W 2 and a small business person, right? And again, key thing, discovering how educators can benefit from side businesses or consulting. And remember, we talked about this in detail, but I really wanted to go further so you can understand the legitimate ways that you can lower taxes and build long-term wealth. Now, again, if you want to know what truly inspired me to do this, it was a couple of things. I had been hearing about this big, beautiful tax bill that started to get under my skin, talking about all the kickbacks to the wealthy, all the kickbacks to the rich, all the kickbacks to the people that are making over 100,000 and so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, I understand the narrative that my people do deal with in the school systems around the country. But in truth, you guys are very, very much able to increase your tax benefits by following a couple of quick short steps. So I want to go into some of the quick details about what this is. So when you look at maybe getting into a consultant business, why is it a natural progression, guys? Because these are things you guys are doing anyway. You're doing this anyway. You're automatically involved in papers and what do you call correcting papers and writing papers and doing all types of things. So a consultant business in your area of expertise is not out of the realm of possibility. Remember, control over your income and deductions is what this is truly all about, and spreading your wings and making sure that you're reaching your full income potentials, even while you're working underneath a school district's authority in so many ways, right? So W 2 employees have taxes that are automatically withheld. Small business owners can deduct legitimate businesses first. So there's a big value in that. Big value in that. For example, your internet, the phone, supplies, marketing, continuing education. I know educators right now that are buying supplies out of their own pockets and they're not benefiting from it financially. And not saying that they're doing that to benefit financially. Their hearts are in the right place. They're looking out for these children. They're looking out for people that do not have some of the financial advantages as others, but they're not taking full advantage of the available tax benefits that they could be. Again, the result is that business owners pay tax on their net income after expenses. So again, I'm not a tax consultant, guys. I do understand the basics of taxes enough to talk to you about this particular video, but I really want you guys to take your time and sit down with your guys and go over some of the information that you're learning in today's presentation, and they will obviously lead you to this. A lot of times, thou have not because thou has asked not, meaning that you guys have not asked your tax consultant the right questions so they can give you, answers like this. So again, this is the takeaway here. The next thing I want you to think about is your home office and your utility deductions. I know a lot of you educators that would rather finish doing certain things at home in your home office. So you could obviously find ways to do that if you had a consulting business, right? Educators that do tutoring, consulting, or financial services on the side, can obviously deduct a lot more things. And If you're using a beautiful home office, like maybe the one you see here in this video, you can obviously write off the entire portion of this particular location, which is pretty doggone decent when you think about it in the long run. Another thing you may want to think about are your utilities, your internet, the maintenance, and the upkeep. The only key thing here is that you want to make sure that the space that you're using is a consistent, regularly used space exclusive for business. And if I were you, I would take pictures of it with your chalkboards, your easels, and everything you have in there so that people can see if you needed it to file it with your taxes. Another thing to think about is your vehicle and travel deductions. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, hey, man, how in the world can I write off a vehicle for personal use? But at the end of the day, if you're in transition, going to and from locations where you're doing your consultation, or if you're renting out some kind of facility so that you can get to and from, that's a write-offable expense. Again, you can do the standard mile deduction, you can do gas, maintenance, insurance. All of these things now allow you to enhance the options that you have as a consultant. Again, visiting school, meeting clients, is doing conferences. Again, now all of a sudden, that beautiful car that you're sitting out there saying, man, it's a liability, Ron G. Just like you shot in one of your videos a couple months ago. Well, now you've turned that liability into an asset. And this is what this conversation is truly about. Again, retirement and flexibility for business owners, one of my most favorite conversations, as I've met most of you out in the district talking about retirement products such as IRAs and 403Bs. Remember now, as a business owner, you can actually bump up your retirement plan. You're probably saying, what do you mean bump it up? Well, you think about the IRAs that you're putting into now. You can put up to 25% of net earnings, all the way up to $69,000 into plans like this. If you look at the traditional plans, they don't allow you to put that type of extra income in there. But again, remember now, you're operating under a business mantra, which means that now people have to look at you as a business and not as an individual. If you did want to set up a solo 401k, you can put up to 76,005 if 50 plus years of age. So you see, for some of my older clients, there's a lot of catch up opportunities available when you're doing consultation on the side. Again, the advantage is to contribute more than what the traditional 403b are, because a lot of people that I talk to feel like, man, Ron G, I'm 48, 49, 50, so it's a little too late for me. Well, these are some of the things that you can do to speed that catch up clock up and get caught up by one, making more, and two, more importantly, reducing the taxable income. Because isn't that what it's truly about, guys? Reducing the taxable income. What is else? The health insurance and HSA benefits. So again, health savings account, for those of you who are not aware what a HSA is, self-employed educators or consultants are now able to deduct up to 100% of health insurance premiums. Now, I know most of you are currently still working with the school districts. However, in the event that you're setting up your consult businesses while still an employee, instead of saying, well, when I retire on Friday, as my colleague Rob Johnson likes to say, you retire on Friday and you're back in the school district on Monday. Well, maybe you don't have to worry about that, because now you retire on Friday and now you're running your consulting business full time. And now, under the full time operation, you're able to deduct 100% of your health insurance premiums. You're also able to get triple the tax benefits of a health savings account. And those are those accounts that you keep money in, you put money in every year. So if you're putting $1,000 in a year just for incidentals, multiply that times three. Deductions, contributions, again, tax free growth, tax free withdrawals. Get on my calendar. We'll show you how to do this in a setting, but right now I don't have that kind of time. But hopefully you're following along at home. Tax-free withdrawals for medical expenses. Again, the pass-through income deduction For your qualified business income, small business owners can deduct up to 20%. And the key thing here is qualified business income before taxes. If you need to know what qualified business expenses are, please, by all means, reach out to your tax consultants for that information. Again, an example, if you earn $15,000 from your tutoring business, you now can deduct $3,000 off of the taxable income. That's very good. Every dollar matters when you think about where this conversation is leading you guys. Do not underestimate the power of a side business, or as you like to say, a side hustle. But a side hustle under the right guidelines can really do wonders for an educator or an employer who may be looking for a bump up, may be looking for a raise. Raise hasn't come. Well, guess what? You raise yourself with your consultant business. Again, the depreciation in Section 179, all of these are tax codes. Again, the immediate expenses for business expenses, equipment, or tools. This is a big one, guys. So when you're getting these laptops, when you're getting these printers and furniture and cameras and all these types of things, you get up to $1.22 million in 2025. So again, this is why I laugh in the face of people complaining, oh, the big tax bill, it's only benefiting the rich. That's foolishness. This is not benefiting the rich. This is benefiting someone who's smart enough to say, you know what? I know I'm talented. I know I can do this, Ron G. I'm going to open up my consultant business literally by the time I finish this video, and I'm going to start tapping into this 1.22. Again, at the end of the day, convert work related expense purchases into instant tax deductions, not tomorrow tax deductions, instant tax deductions, guys. Do not underestimate the ability and the benefit of what this does for you. Again, if you want to look at a side by side example of a Miss Taylor, a fifth grade teacher who's single, and I like to use my single people with no children because they're the ones that get absolutely butchered with taxes. You know that, single people. Let's use this example. So let's look. She goes out there. She's in a W-2 format, and she's making about 70 grand a year, which is a real decent salary. And a standard deduction, for those of you who don't know, this is the maximum amount that you can deduct without no strings attached. You can do this or you can do an itemized. A lot of people choose just to write off the standard because they don't want no, as they say, smoke coming from the Internal Revenue Service. So her taxable income now would be 54 to 50, which is not bad. So she won't be taxed on the 70, she'll be taxed on the 54, which means that her tax bracket is lower, so hopefully they took out more than they needed, and she'll get a return, a decent tax return. Again, the standard deduction is the maximum amount you can take out, unless you itemize. And a lot of people choose not to itemize because you really have to have I's dotted and T's crossed. If you want to keep the IRS off your back, just be very, very careful, but be consistent. Let's look at scenario B. Scenario B is the same individual who decided to do her side consult hustle. She made about $15,000 on the side, and she ran into about $5,000 in expenses. She had to buy equipment and, redesign her office and, laptop, printer, and all that good stuff in there. And what happens here is that if you look at the W-2 salary of $70,000 plus the 15,000 in side hustle with 5,000 expenses, it looks like she's credited total $80,000, right? Because you had to back out five. So she made $80,000. Remember now, she's going to get an immediate $5,000 deduction. Plus, because it's considered qualified business income, you got to know what that is. And we talked about that before. 20% of that, she's immediately given a pass through. So that means $10,000, which is only $2,000, will be accounted for. And so her taxable income, technically, if you subtract the 7,000 from the 73, is $66,000. So she technically made $80,000 and she's only being taxed on 66,000. So she can save anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 on potential taxes. Now, I know this is a lot for a short video such as this. Again, we can talk about this more in detail. Uh, by all means, get on the calendar. Let's talk soon. Last but not least, again, we talked about the qualified business income deductions, which is very important for all businesses. Unfortunately, this is not available to you if you strictly stay in the W 2 market. And last but not least, what can we use as a solid strategy? Educators expanding side businesses could now pick up and choose entity structures because they may want to bring in a friend who may want to get with them. And now they can go ahead and do the LLC or do an S Corp or do any of these things. Again, talk to your consultants. They can set you up with these types of products, excuse me, these type of business products, and you can continue to do what you're doing on your day jobs while really raking in some decent income on your night job. The sole proprietor is obviously the simplest side because you can still use your social security number as well, which a lot of people will start out in this arena. Again, the last and not least, and I'm saying this with every bone in my body, W 2 income is limited deductions, least amount of control. So if you don't want to stay on the side of the street that's crying and complaining about what the rich are doing and the people making 100,000 and they're hurting me, they're cutting me, they're doing all of these things, come over to this side, come over to the small business side, and now you're able to deduct with deductions. You have more flexibility. You can build more income, right? If you don't get those raises that you deserve, obviously, in the school district. So if you feel like you deserve a raise, you go raise yourself. And now educators can, here's the key word, legally lower taxes through side business ownership. So again, get it right. From the classroom to cash flow theme, this is what we do here at National Life Group. I promised you that I would give you something tangible to hold on to because I don't want you thinking that there's absolutely nothing you can do. Remember, you control your own destinies. As educators, you guys are super uber talented. You already have the knowledge. You already have the worth ethics. The only thing missing is to legitimize those small businesses. So get going today. Do not delay. Start the LLCs, start the sole proprietors, get started, get the consultant businesses up and off the ground. Remember, two books. You already know one of them, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Tax Free Wealth, written by Tom Wheeler, the CPA. These books are all you really need to get started. Again, so Ron G, aka your consult, the Net Worth Nation, I hope this video helped. I hope it simplified the process. I hope now you're ready to get out there and go start putting these businesses in effect. I understand that it seems complicated, but I promise you, you guys are already doing it. You're already doing it now. Many of you are doing the work, the labor, the intellectual property. You're doing it right now. So go ahead, get those businesses legitimized, get the tax ID, go down, get the state documentation that you need at Sunbiz or whatever state you are. Get in there, get those businesses up and running, get a good tax consultant to work with you side by side as you build this up. And what you will realize is that you guys now control your narrative instead of someone else. And now you can say, hey guys, those tax bills, they benefit me. Ron G, aka Your Console, the Net Worth Nation. Peace. Talk soon. Ciao for now.